Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Bush League Huddle. I am your host, Anthony, or as my friends call me, Nacc, with my two co-hosts here, Raj and Fab. Uh, Let me start off by saying a little condolences to Raj. England lost on the weekend, unfortunately. Unfortunately for you, I think we both called. I think everyone here called that they were going to lose, and the
Even Roger called that he was going to lose.
yeah,
So
he
that's
did. He did. And the
the
legend of
least.
Harry Kane continues.
Did they keep him in Berlin? Like, just keep that guy and like don't send him back. Like,
Well, he plays
like
for he
I
plays for
know, no,
Bayern,
no,
so
I know,
maybe he
I know,
stays in
I know,
Germany.
I know, but I don't want to. Like, he shouldn't be allowed to come back to England in the summer. Like, he's lost like 6 championships or like 6 finals.
Yeah, he's never won a team trophy yet.
This guy's
And it's
brutal,
funny
man.
because he went to Bayern thinking like they were going to win, and then Leverkusen
Yeah.
wins the league. It's just funny. They didn't win they didn't win any cup or anything like that either, which is pretty
Look,
sad.
look, we
But
went farther than Italy, so that's all that matters for me.
yeah, okay, we'll
yeah,
take
but
that
how
with a grain of
many?
salt.
Well, who cares? Like we both lost. Doesn't
No,
matter.
no, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. If you if we're
ah,
not
You
first,
want
if
you
we're
want
not
another
first, you're
you want
last.
another second place
ah,
trophy?
ah,
Be my
ah,
guest. Be my
ah,
guest.
I don't hear you.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
we'll move
All
we'll
right.
move on with that. But no, guys, it's very exciting. There's some actually some training camps that opened this
Yes,
week. Actually, mainly one, I believe, the Ravens opened their camp, and so did I think Houston, if not
Houston. Yeah,
today or
Yeah.
tomorrow. So very exciting. We have some football coming very soon. August 1st, first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game. So pretty pumped to see a little bit of football, even though the preseason sucks. But
It's a
we'll take
start.
any kind of football. It's a start,
It's a
exactly. It's a
start.
you're
It's
start.
not
a start.
looking forward to Davis Mills. What the hell's wrong with you?
We've got a great show today, guys. We are going to be broadcasting the best division in football, which is the AFC North, consisting of the Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Ravens. And I think we should start off by kicking this off right away. So we have a member of the Ravens flock here with us today to discuss everything Ravens. Boo! But without further ado, give it up for Cam.
Hey guys, thanks for
What up?
having
What
me.
what up,
Yes,
Cam?
sir. What
What's
up,
up?
Cam?
What's up? I saw that you put Ravens last. I knew it was on purpose, but
Of
it's
course, you put
okay.
Steelers first too.
Of
Like, I
course.
knew it. I knew it.
Come on, come
With
on.
that amazing QB duo. We'll talk about that later.
Whoa.
But on a more
Yes.
serious note, guys, first we're gonna start off, thinking about Jacoby Jones. Who passed away yesterday at 40 years old. That's pretty crazy, man. He was really well liked in Ravens and Flock Nation, and we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl in 2012 without him, right? The Mile High miracle that he did at the AFC Championship against Denver, the 70-yard touchdown he caught from Joe Flacco, and in the Super Bowl, right, 2 touchdowns, that
Yes.
108-yard return right after all the shenanigans with all the lights that went off. He really kicked
Yeah,
off,
I
Yeah,
right?
remember
So
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy.
That's
So
true.
The
he's
Yeah,
chop,
Ravens legend for sure,
the
Jacoby
Chopper
Jones.
City juke, man. It was
yeah.
the best
He was well
celebration.
liked across the board, like
Yeah.
throughout the league,
Yeah.
man. Like everyone liked this guy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even now with the Ravens, they do a lot of things with the alumni, and he was always there, and he always had like a good attitude, and everyone loved him. It's really sad, we don't know
I
why
agree.
the cause of death, but anyway, wanted to shout it out for sure.
I'll never
100%.
forget Mike Tomlin standing in the way on the sideline Thanksgiving Day. I was looking at the jumbotron.
Yeah, little mistake there.
Well, Cam, we're here to pick your brain here. Look, Derrick Henry, new addition to the backfield for 2024. I don't know how excited you are about that. He is turning 30. We know what happens to running backs after they turn 30. Their numbers seems to decrease. And right now he's actually going as RB9 ADP in PPR formats. So how do you feel about that? Does do you agree? Do you disagree? And does the threat of a Lamar Jackson in the backfield who gets his own carries and slated to get those 700-800 yards rushing, does that scare you? And does that drop his value a little bit?
Well, you know what? I think he's positioned well. Anything between 7 to 10, I think that's really where he's supposed to be. CMC, Brees Hall, B. John, Jonathan Taylor, those are the big dogs for me. Even Jameer Gibbs, he has a lot of potential. So, these are the big dogs that you could have. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, I think Derrick Henry's floor is safe. Last year, Gus Edwards had 800 yards and 13 touchdowns. Gus Edwards, all right, running
Gus the
with
bus.
Gus the bus. We know
Hey,
he's in there.
Cam, this is a pro Gus Bus show.
Yeah,
I love Gus Bus, but he is what he is, right? He's a north-south guy. He just falls forward and he gains 5 yards just doing that. So, but I think the floor is safe. I know the age 30, everyone's scared of that age. But all-time greats. Fred Taylor, Frank Gore, age AP, my man AP, Fred Taylor. These guys all had great seasons at 30, 31, even 32 for some, like Emmett Smith and Fred Taylor. Everyone. If you guys don't follow Henry King Henry for his workouts, you guys should check it out. He's a beast in the gym.
Yeah,
If you
he
guys
is.
check out his
yeah, for
workouts,
sure.
so he
Yeah,
takes
he's an
care of
animal.
his body. So I
Yeah.
think the floor is amazing. He had the most rushing attempts last year in the NFL with 280 rush attempts. Ravens are going to feed him. So even if I don't think we're going to see 5 yard per carry rush anymore, Derrick Henry. But if we see a solid 4.2, 4.5, he's going to get his 1,200 yards. He's going to get his 12, 13 touchdowns. He's going to pass one or two. They always do that little special fake dive that they do. So it's and don't forget he was in Tennessee, right? One of the worst O lines ever in the NFL. Ravens did lose a little bit of guys, but we still got Linderbaum, one of the best centers. Stanley looks good in OTAs. I know it's without pads, but so I think his floor is extremely safe. So if you're picking, at the end of a first round, early second round, I think you should grab him.
I know Raj might
Jeez,
disagree with you a little bit, so
that
I'm
was
gonna I'm
that
gonna
was a
I'm gonna
good
have
argument.
him I'm gonna have him answer.
That
Yeah,
was
I
a
know.
good
I was
He
gonna
came
say
argument.
prepared.
his
He came
argument was pretty good.
prepared.
Yeah,
Say
Don't
his
that little.
argument
don't
was
forget.
definitely good.
Don't forget, Keaton Mitchell is not going to play.
Yeah,
Best
I
case
just saw
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
case
Half the
scenario, he's,
year.
he's
in
Yeah,
the
gonna he's
POP
gonna come
in
half
the
the year. He
POP
starts in
just
the
today.
yeah.
in the pup, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Justice Hill.
Justice Hill. He's a good solid warrior, but that's pretty much what he is. And also one thing I want to bring up is that Derrick Henry never caught a lot of balls in Tennessee. But Baltimore, we've been having a lot of problems with pass protection, and in OTAs and in minicamp, that's what they were talking about. That how impressed they were with his pass pro, and we all know that Lamar needs to be protected, right? And Justice Hill had a hard time last year, and Keaton Mitchell is a fast speed guy, but he's so I'm not saying he's going to catch 80
Yeah.
balls, but I wouldn't be surprised if he beats his record in the season and catch about 40, 50 balls
Wow.
this year.
So last year he had 28. So I agree with you with everything you said, Cam. If we're talking about standard and even half, but
Half.
in this case we're talking about PPR.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've said in this pod is he was 18th in snaps last year. Like I had him in the league that Fab and are in, Fab and Nacc are in, and he did not play on third down. Like
No.
it was Tajay Spears the entire way, and that was so frustrating. I think part of that was the Titans are probably a worse team. They're probably down more, so obviously they're going to be fighting from behind. They're going to play more the passing back, but it still concerns me if I want to pick an RB1 in the first round. I want a guy who could be a 3 down back who can play on third downs. He had 28 receptions last year, 214 yards, and he played the exact same amount of snaps as Tajay Spears last year. That's actually crazy. Tajay Spears,
For sure.
diminutive running back, smaller guy. And for me, if I'm looking around that range, personally, there's Josh Jacobs who's going 12th, James Cook who's going 14th, KW3 Kenneth Walker the third 15th, Stevenson and even Aaron Jones at 18 and 19. I love Derrick Henry, but I think you could find better value guys who can get to 200 carries, but also get closer to the 40 to 50 receptions on a yearly basis.
Yeah, I agree. Like Josh Jacobs for sure. Like I love Josh Jacobs. I find he's a great back and he's gonna get all the carries, all the touches, all the passing. But honestly, man, think about it. Lamar Jackson one way you can't stack the box against Derrick Henry. You can't. Even though Lamar he slimmed down, he's not gonna run as much. You have to prepare for that. And
But
if you
Cam,
do, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Don't you find it took him a while to get going last year? Like I find the one cut, like he needs space to really get going. He's not plowing over guys. And when I watched him, it was he really needed at least like 2-3 yards of an absolutely open O line because it's one cut and then go up, and then if he finds that space, it's going to the house or it's going 80 yards. But I felt that was hard.
obviously it's the homer in me, but who's opening up those big lanes in front of him? Who's opening up? No one in the NFL has a Pat Ricard as a fullback. Nobody.
Good point.
So he's going to open up some space. Again, I'm not expecting 5 yard average from Derrick Henry, but the guy's going to get. The Ravens are in a win now mode. They're going to give him the carries. I wouldn't surprise me if he surpasses 300 carries. So, but for sure in
Wow.
PPR, I understand
Wow.
100%.
Holy
I
cows.
understand 100%. And also, don't forget, Ravens have a very tough schedule. So these blowing out teams like we did in the last couple of years, I don't think it's going to happen this year. So I think he's going to get the ball more, but for sure in PPR, Josh Jacobs and players like that. But I wouldn't surprise if he catches 40 balls this year. My prediction. Bold prediction.
Fab, anything to add?
Cam, thank you for coming on the pod. I got that. I've been singing the praises of Derrick Henry in that offense for quite a
My man.
while. I've been very positive, very optimistic because apart from the stuff that you added, I forgot about the fullback there. That's a great point. Like he's going to a better offense. He's going to an offense where the defenses can't stack the box like they were able to do so in Tennessee. It's going to pay huge dividends to Derrick Henry. Huge.
To
And at
finish
the
off, guys, the Tennessee had one of the worst O lines for many years.
Yeah, for
Many
sure.
years. They
Yeah,
can't
he's
stack the
going
box.
into a better offense. And like you
Yeah, but
said,
he was
Gus the
also
Bus
a bit
got 900
younger,
yards
right?
and 13 touchdowns.
And
You know,
even said mentally, he's not the guy anymore, and that frees him up so much. So we're gonna see how it goes.
I'm all in on Derrick Henry this year, and RB9 is a great spot for him. And the guys that you mentioned, Roger, like I'm taking Derrick Henry before that. I'm not even worried about it.
Even in PPR, eh?
Yep,
Yeah, I
even
don't
in
know.
PPR, I
Look,
think the
he
touchdown
finished
upside,
RB8. He finished
the,
RB8 in PPR last
the
year. So
touchdown
like,
upside is gonna overshadow PPR ridiculously. I think 12 touchdowns is on the low end. If this guy can push for like 17, 18 touchdowns,
okay.
I'm
Okay.
not even kidding. I'm not
17,
even kidding,
18?
man. Yeah.
There's
He's a
no way
safe
he's
bet
getting
for double digit
there's
touchdowns.
no way double digits fine, 10, maybe 11, 15, 18. There's no chance.
So
You don't
I don't
think
think so.
how many touchdowns did Gus Edwards get last year in that offense?
13. 13.
Okay, he
You
13.
don't
got
think you can
13.
get 15 touchdowns? You think you can get two more than? I'm just saying, like it's not
No,
out of the realm of possibility.
it's not out of I'm not going to say it's
It's not out of the realm
impossible,
of
but
possibility. And there's one guy that
I
can do it. It's
don't
Derrick Henry in that
so that
offense.
so
there's a lot of tread on those tires, man.
if we
I don't
think
think
he
that's a big deal in this scenario. I get your point, I do, but I think there are those players that break the mold and really like defunk that whole like, oh, he's 30,
He's
he's
a
past his
specimen.
prime.
He's a
Like
specimen.
first of all, running backs like they start to drop off as a 27. So 30, like he's already being
No,
he's
no
still
drop
break
off. That's like that's their prime.
their
it,
peaks
they're
happen at like 26, 27, and then there's the
Yeah,
drop off.
that's
yeah.
their
That's like
prime.
So
the high.
he's still like within his, let's call it prime for lack of a better word. He's still very serviceable. We've seen that. So I'm not really concerned about the age nor the wear on the tires. And I think to Cam's point, like they're going it's Super Bowl or bust this year, right? For them. So even Derrick Henry knows that too. So
They're gonna
he's
run
gonna
him,
be he's gonna be playing like a man on fire.
I have a
and he'll
question for Cat. Go ahead, Cap.
and he's gonna throw a little bit of those fake dive touchdowns over PQ's head against the Steelers.
Cam
Revenge
came to play,
factor.
man. Cam
Revenge.
came to
Yeah, he
play.
did. But Cam, if you think he's going to do that well, does that mean you're fading Lamar Jackson's rushing ability a little bit?
Well, I hope so. The goal is the reason why he slimmed down is because he saw that his breakaway speed took a dive the last 2 years. So that's why he slimmed down like 25 pounds in the last 2 seasons. If you guys, I don't know if you guys saw pictures of him, but he's really
Yeah,
like slim.
I couldn't.
He's
I,
like,
I
Yeah.
couldn't believe how big he was in those
oh yeah,
previous pictures.
he was
It doesn't
massive
do it
before.
justice. It doesn't do it justice like when he's playing on the field.
So
Yeah,
let's hope there's less runs called for him and just scrambled or whatnot, and a couple of options that he keeps it. But Derrick Henry all the way, guys, 100%.
amazing. And look, Cam, but thank you so much for coming on. Before we let you go here, I know you mentioned they do have a tough schedule this year, not as tough as maybe the Steelers do. But what is your prediction for this season, record wise?
Record, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lesser record than last year, but the North runs through the Ravens, man, runs through Baltimore. So let's go maybe a 12-5 this year, something like that.
That's what I had.
And what's going to happen in the
And this
playoffs?
time we'll beat the
And
Chiefs.
Lamar chokes again in the
We'll beat the
playoffs.
Chiefs in
What
the
else
AFC
is new?
Championship.
What else is new? Let's see if you can win a playoff game.
Wow. Wow.
Cam, thank you so much for coming. Always love to banter amongst AFC North foes. So, again, thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck to those Ravens not
Thanks,
next year.
guys. Keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Cam. Yeah, that was wow, that was good.
Well, your
He
boy came on
he
spicy.
definitely came
It
prepared. I
was
He
like
came
that.
on
I like
spicy.
that. That was awesome.
That was fun.
And he made
I,
me maybe
I
think
got got.
twice a little bit, but
Yeah.
man, I don't know. I have him. Look, he finished RB8 and like ahead of players like Bijan, Saquon, and Gibbs. So like I'm expecting all three of those guys to have better years than Derrick Henry. So like I'm not seeing him in the top 10, but RB2 status, that's where I'm more comfortable with a
I,
Derrick Henry.
I
Like I'm
think
not
Well,
comfortable as an
yeah,
RB1.
I think that the Titans O line factor, Will Levis factor, like the offense is a bit of a mess. I
dude, the
think it's
fullback factor for
the
the
fullback
Ravens
factor
is a
is a
huge
really
That's
big
point,
point.
massive.
man. It's a
That's
Yeah.
huge
massive.
point because how many teams even play with a proper fullback anymore besides like the Niners and the Ravens?
Yeah,
Not many.
very few. Not
No,
many.
And you
that position is pretty basically eliminated. I know the
yeah,
Steelers carry one, but they don't really play him as a fullback that often. It's like basically another tight end.
yeah, it's a very good point.
All right, guys, let's move along to another AFC North foe of mine. We have let's welcome Brian. Sorry, not Ryan. Excuse me. Out of the jungle there in Cincinnati. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, Brian?
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I just wanted to say one thing. Awesome podcast. And you guys need to love Caleb Williams just a little bit more fed on.
Awesome. That's good.
Hey,
Oh
man. I
man.
think Nacc and I do. I think
Whoa,
Nacc
whoa,
and I
whoa,
appreciate.
whoa! What the hell? What the?
Ah,
You think I don't like Caleb Williams?
nah.
Nah, you gotta love him. You gotta love him.
I gotta love him. He's gotta show me something first. That's all. That's it.
Man,
I like him. I like him a lot. I hope he does well. I root for the guy, and he's in a great spot to succeed.
all right.
He hasn't played in NFL down yet. That's all I'm saying. Just like every other rookie.
Wait, but quickly, Ryan. How do you
That's
think
it.
he's going to do this? Before we get into the Bengals, how do you think he's going to do this year?
ROI, for sure. For sure.
Oh yeah.
Rookie of the year.
For sure.
Well, I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I can't see
I
him
don't
But
see why
not.
not.
Like, there's a
but
two.
with him, I think it's gonna be like 22 touchdowns. Let's call it 15-ish picks just because of who he plays with. But I think he's gonna run rapid.
Interesting.
You think he's going to throw for 4,000 yards?
I think he's going to throw for
No.
like 4,200.
Oh
Oh,
man,
damn.
that's a big
Damn.
number.
Damn.
That's a big
So-
number.
so-
You have to understand in the Pac-12 what he did with undersized receivers. He had Zachariah Branch, which is like
Yeah,
essentially like a Percy Harvin, and he still went off
yeah. But
with
I hate
no
to tell you,
O-line, with
Yeah.
no
No.
O-line, just like Joe Burrow.
It's a great segue.
Okay, I mean the Pac-12 is not the NFL, but
Hey, hey. Hey,
I
it's all right.
digress.
I don't know.
It's all right. He's still going to go off. Carson
We'll
Palmer
see.
has
I'm
total plays.
look. It's good for the NFL if he does go off. So I'm hoping he does show us something.
I don't know where we got these guests, man, but they came with some fire today.
Fire.
Jesus.
So your boy Joe Burrow, he is coming back from a very gruesome arm injury. It's kind of split when you're looking online of how many people are saying that it could be really career threatening. He's not going to be able to throw the ball as hard anymore. It's going to hamper his timing and stuff like that. Like it's something that you may not be able to come back from. And obviously, some people are saying no, he's going to come back. He's going to be Joe Burrow. Obviously, Joe Burrow himself is talking like he's he's the healthiest he's ever been in his life, and yada yada yada. So um, right now he's currently going as the seventh QB off the board. So I want to ask you: do you see him getting back to that top five potential, or should we kind of tread lightly and kind of see what the season brings? And if you are buying Joe Burrow at that spot, does Chase finally have that breakout season that we're all waiting for?
All right. So I'll hit you with this. Joe Burrow injury, comes back the next year, puts up 4,500 yards plus, right? He did the same thing in LSU, got smoked, came back and just ran rampant. So the guy just has that sandpaper attitude. Joey B, he's an Ohio kid. So, like, I think he's going to come back, draft him at 7, and then just laugh at everybody else in the league for not drafting him earlier. That's the best way that I could put it. Because I said it. We've always had a god awful O line. Always. Always plug and play and see if it could work. We have a really good quarterback. Did it all the way back to when we had the two Johnsons in the backfield, Chad Johnson, Hushmanzada, Chris Henry, and all that stuff. Like, that's just the way it was. The Bengals O-line has always stunk up the place. So
Yeah.
now with both Browns, Karras is still there, Kappa's there, we should be all right. We don't play with the true fullback like anybody else does, but we re-signed Drew Sample, not a real catching tight end. But even with an 80 number, he's still in the backfield blocking. Zach Moss, a little more built, packed a punch, unlike Joe Mixon, who's 6'1", doesn't like to block because he's pretty.
Yeah.
I like Mix. I like Mix. Don't get me wrong. I like Mix a lot. It sucked that we had to let him go. But whenever you bring someone in that has a last name Moss and that's related to Sonoras and Santana, I'm all for it.
Wow,
But
Sonoras
he
Moss.
looked
That's
like
a blast
he
from
looked
the
like he was
past.
on the he
Yeah.
looked like he was on the downtrend, Mixon. Like he
Look,
wasn't as elusive.
He,
Had a
he
pretty good year.
it wasn't that
he-
efficient though. It was a
No,
lot of
exactly.
volume. It
Yeah.
was
yeah,
it was
that
still serviceable, but like he wasn't never gonna proper get you like 5 yards of carry. It was always gonna be 3.9, 4, and all that, which is good, but
100%.
it's just volume that he needed.
But look, if you want to compare Mixon to Moss, what was it? Mixon had over 70 more carries than Moss and had 300 or more yards than him. And like I say, he doesn't block. Didn't really catch much. Moss could do both,
Yeah.
even though he is a Utah boy. And like I believe in him. I believe in him. Um, but like Derrick Henry, he does come from Miami, and Miami running backs ball out in the league. So I hope he's going to do well for us. He's going to help Joe Burrow in the pass game, even in the run game, and with our Canada brethren down there, Chase Browne as the backup running back. I think
He's
it's going to help
Canadian?
out Joe. Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Yes. Come on now.
Hell yeah.
So with those two as like the 1-2 punch with Joe Burrow, I think you're going to get more yards per attempt than what he has in the past because of our garbage O-line. So instead of like Jamar Chase, because you asked me if he's going to have a breakout season, instead of all of these little slip screens or little like bubble screens, wide receiver screens and whatnot, and let him do his running back
Yes.
thing because that's how he's built,
Yeah.
you're going to let him go down the field. He can
Yes.
he can go over the middle, he can extend the field, post
Well,
corner, triple moves, all that
so,
stuff. I think
so
he's
Ryan,
going to get more yards than Yak.
I wanted to elaborate on that because like the last 2 years he's basically been a possession receiver. His first year he was 17 yards per reception. Then back-to-back year he's at 12 yards per reception. So you think this year it's gonna be opened up because of the running game and the improved O line?
I believe so. Like he had to split with Boyd and T, but you also have to look at T now. He's playing for a bigger contract, better livelihood for himself, but he wants to stay healthy. Jamar Chase does everything. Like he does end arounds,
Yeah.
short, shallow, long. He can moss people like legit. He's a if you ask me, everyone goes who's wide receiver 1, who's wide receiver 2,
Uh-oh.
and everyone's gonna say Jitters, or then people are gonna be like, yeah,
Uh-oh.
Chase isn't too far behind. For me, it's 1A, 1B. And I hate LSU, but Chase is on our team. So for me, he's the 1A. And he, even when he's banged up, he still performs as if he's healthy. The man is just a machine. He reminds me of someone like a Maurice Jones-Drew. Could never tell. Small, but he packs a punch. He's not like 6'4". He's on the shorter end of 6 foot, and he still gets over people, gets under people, bodies people. So I think that with a better O-line, it's not just going to be the short stuff. Yeah, it's still always going to be there. But I believe it might be a little bit more behind, double moves, better tree. Like, Pitcher is our offensive coordinator this year instead of just Zach calling everything and managing the game himself. So by having a dedicated offensive coordinator with Zach to overlook it and assist and still be on the sidelines, I think that when it's the go for the throat type of stuff that the Bengals have lacked forever. I think that's going to help Joe Burrow and Chase meld like they have in the past so they can exceed, let's call it expectations, or like pull off like a Chad Pennington and get comeback player of the year twice type of thing.
Interesting. Fab, what do you think? You
I think
buying
this
Burrow at
100%.
QB7?
Yeah, and I agree with everything. I think this is a Joe Burrow revenge tour this year. I think he's going to light the whole league on fire. I think he's going to go off. I'm buying him at 7 easily. Listen, I get the whole conversation about like how maybe not 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, fine, but like he should go in the top 5 for me. I would not take Anthony Richardson before him. I know that's how he's going as an ADP right now. And from a quarterback standpoint, like there's only maybe a handful of guys named Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes that I would take before Joe Burrow. Even like CJ Stroud, for me, I would take Joe Burrow over Stroud. Like I'm thoroughly involved. I'm in on Joe this year. I'm not too concerned about the risk. I know it's going to be a topic of conversation throughout the entire off season, right? But you know, he's
Yeah,
a
until we
dog,
see him
man.
throw for real.
He's a dog though. Like
He
he's a
didn't throw
dog.
hard anyways.
Like and I even Chase too. Like he's gonna have like another year like he did in his rookie season where he puts up 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns. Like we're gonna have a solid season from Burrow and Chase. Yeah,
Yeah, gotta
I'm
start
high on them
drafting
both.
some AFC North guys, huh?
Listen,
Dude, we're in the toughest division. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, it's hands down.
It's
It's not a
crazy.
debate. It's
We
not a
have to
debate.
play.
Guys,
We have to play each other.
no,
guys,
and
come
it's
on.
crazy.
Are you kidding me, man? The NFC East. Come on.
guys, you're not scared of Daniel Jones?
Go.
You're not scared of
Come on.
Daniel Jones?
Come on.
That
dude.
hasn't been scary since McNabb was there.
McNabb.
Look, you're a
Wow.
Steelers fan, but I'm with you. You guys are bums. You're Giants fans. You're bums.
Guys are bums. Everyone, weren't the Bengals like the second team in Ohio for like the longest time and still are? Anyways, let's keep the
Wait,
podcast
Wait,
moving.
don't the Bengals players cross the highway to get to their practice facility?
Hey
Are
man,
there Bengals in Cincinnati? I'm curious. Are there
hey,
Bengals in Cincinnati? I don't think so.
Listen. We have a not good organization, man.
They're cheap, man.
But we have
Just
but we
cheap.
have
They're just
the
cheap.
heart.
The owner's just cheap.
No, I've always
Yeah.
been a Chad Johnson fan, so I've always appreciated the Bengals. So yeah.
I have a
Ocho
question.
Cinco, okay?
Ryan, you didn't mention him, but Amirius Mims. Any thoughts on him? He was the first rounder. I think out
Out of Georgia.
Yeah.
That's a good question, man. My best friend's a Bengals fan too, and he asked me because he's like, "You watch a lot of college." He's like, "How do you feel about Mims?" I'm like, "I think
People saying he's raw. People saying he's raw. Yeah.
I was like year 2, because Kirby Smart is a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
But he's not like Saban, where you could get drafted in your friggin' junior year, like, and you could go to the league and not dominate, but you could be that other echelon other than serviceable, right? Right, to be like impactful. So coming out of Georgia, there's not many people that are like crazy good. For me, it was the last person that we took from Georgia that was like that was AJ Green. So,
Wow.
and before that, out of Georgia, there's a lot of good people, but like Matthew Stafford's still doing it, right? But as of now, with Kirby Smart, you're like, for me, it's a wait till year 2 type of thing.
Plus,
see what's going on.
Plus, you guys lost the Callahans.
Can't win everything, Roger. Can't keep everything. Can't always have the cupboard stocked fully. Like, it's not like the NHL where you have a farm system and everything like that, and like the money's a little bit wonky, right?
Yeah.
Or the NBA with the luxury tax and whatnot. So, got to roll it differently.
Ryan, honestly, thank you so much for taking the time for coming out again. Before we let you go, what's the prediction on the season?
We'll go 12 wins for the Bengals this year.
Wow.
Everyone's getting 12 wins.
So 12 wins. Everyone's gonna get 12 wins in the AFC North.
you know what it is? It's like you can't say more than 12 because then you're gonna look like you're full of crap. And if you say less than that, it's like, man, you don't believe in your team. And the only
I
thing
have 11-6. I have 11-6.
11-6.
Like it's
Okay,
not far.
Yeah,
We're not
look,
yeah,
far off.
that's where I was too.
we're not the Browns. We're not going to go sub 10. That's all I'm saying. Healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, revamp running backs,
Yeah.
better O line, and we have better depth at O line. And even though Reader left on defense, we're like our front seven's still good. So it's like instead of playing from behind or having to depend on like Money Mac for like last second kicks, I think that we could win a couple of games by at least a major or let's say just 6 points or something. Instead of just like, oh, we're gonna go for 3, win by like 1 or 3 points.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck. I'm excited to see Joe Burrow back in action, see what he can do after the injury. So once again, Ryan, thank you so much for coming, man, and good luck next year.
Thanks,
Appreciate you
Ryan.
guys. And one last thing. Whodey?
Mute.
Thanks, Ryan. That was great.
Yeah, that was good. Really, really good guests today, guys. Really, really good guests.
Well, it's
Thank you
gonna be
so
tough
much.
to follow those two guys up, huh? Shit.
But the thing with the Burrow, like I remember even Chase last year was saying, like I don't want to see Burrow play until he's 100% healthy.
Yep.
You know, and
But
then when
isn't this one of those injuries that he will never fully recover from?
But
he
that's what
doesn't
some
throw hard
people are saying.
anyway.
That's what like some people are saying. It's like one of those injuries where it's like they were comparing it to like Tommy John surgery for like
Yeah.
pitchers and stuff. So it's like one of those things where like you come back from that, you're never the same guy, right? So like that's what people are worried of is it was a really bad arm injury, right? So it's like until you see him really like in a game or in a in a game setting throwing the ball, and so like we won't know, but he's still young. He's still like he's
But
not. You know what I mean? It didn't happen to him later.
he was throwing in OTAs, right?
That would have been a good question for Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm
But
not sure.
he relied on anticipation anyways. Like he wasn't a big arm guy. Like he's one of the best anticipation throwers in the league.
No, for
so
sure. But
that's why I'm not.
We know that you need an arm to play in the NFL, right? Like you just need an arm.
Unless you're Chad Pennington or
Tua. Let's move along here.
Sorry, just before we move on, Joe Burrow was back and throwing at Bengal OTAs, so he was throwing. That was as of May 6th.
He was in shorts, though. You know, it's nothing.
Thank you for
crazy.
great radio.
But at least he's throwing. It's good. He's throwing. Yeah. Next on the docket are the Cleveland Browns. So basically, a lot of question marks still surrounding Deshaun Watson from a performance aspect, Fab, not off-field issues.
Well, what do you mean by performance? Because there's a lot of ways that we can misconstrue.
Of course. I had to pick wording like that, right?
I'm just saying. Because if you ask certain people, he's performing very well.
Yeah. Okay.
Like ask the guy who's washing his towels. I'm sure he's very happy with how well he's performing.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God! You still think he's doing that? Like,
he probably never stopped. He just like stopped getting caught.
People don't just stop. Yeah, exactly. I think
he just stopped getting caught.
Anyways, so basically, with question marks surrounding Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb coming off a very bad leg injury and torn ACL, MCL, he might not start the season. Although there was a video today of him squatting 580 pounds.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
You see how bent that
6
bar
months
was?
ago, like it was 6 months ago, your injury.
Also, do you think Watson is sending the to Cherries?
Maybe. You never know. But honestly, like with those two question marks really surrounding the team, Raj, who's your must-own Cleveland Brown this year?
So, Nacc, I struggled with this because for me it was either like Njoku or Cooper. Right. Cooper finished.
Easy answers.
Yeah, but like Cooper finished with 72 catches, 1,200 yards, 5 TDs. But don't forget, and Fab, I think it was against you. He had that 51-point fantasy game against Houston, and
it was.
That and that skewed his
3
stats.
touchdowns.
It was like 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. I think like 16, 17 catches.
Yep.
So if you look at his other 14 games, his fantasy points per game drops. It's most closer to like 12.5. So I think it's Cooper just because he performs obviously way better with Deshaun Watson. With Watson last year, he was six receptions a game, 96 yards,
Yep.
17.6 fantasy points. With Flacco, he was even better though. He was at almost 6.5 receptions, 121 yards, and 22.9 fantasy points. The key thing is there's no DTR. There's no Dorian Thompson,
Robinson.
thank you, and PJ Walker. That was where when he played, like everyone was a net negative. So
Yeah.
I'll go with Cooper. I think the ADP of 29 is fair, and the fact that they have Jameis Winston gives them a lot more kind of insurance in case Watson is not there, because it's clear he's very injury prone at this point. He doesn't finish a season.
Yeah, and he finished the year, just for context. He finished the year last year WR20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, that if you remove that game, it's heavily skewed, right? Like obviously you can't do it, but I also look like some of his duds. I think he had like 5 games where he was under 5 catches and under 40 yards. So there was a lack of consistency there on Cooper's end. I just want to say Njoku. I think like I picked Cooper, but I think Njoku at ADP 11, that's a really good value, and I would have taken him, but the Jerry Jeudy factor concerned me a bit. Jeudy being there, Jeudy plays a lot in the slot. Is it possible that Njoku gets some targets taken away? So that's why I went more with Cooper.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Fab, there's players ahead of him right now, or going. He's going ahead of players like Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Pickens, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk, and Scary Terry. Like, are you taking any one of these guys above Cooper?
Honestly,
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of like Cooper at his spot at 29. To be honest with you, like the Terry McLaurin, like we spoke about him at length over there. I like him a lot. But the other guys too, like they don't really jump off the page for me. And Amari Cooper is going to be the guy who's going to command all the targets in that offense. And I know Rod, you mentioned about his performance with Flacco versus his performance with Deshaun Watson. Like Flacco did have that one game with him where there was the 3 touchdowns and that was heavily skewed. Like his numbers were with Deshaun were, because I was trying to make an argument for Amari Cooper being worse with Deshaun, and I couldn't find one. And this was like earlier when we first started recording. His numbers were actually pretty good with Deshaun Watson, so I would think that would continue, and I think he can give back wide receiver 2 value. But we're forgetting a very key component to the Browns offense that no one's talking about, and he signed a new deal for a 3-year contract today. Dustin Hopkins, the kickers guy. Come on, we're not gonna talk about the kickers. Kickers are people too. You didn't hear about the contract he signed? Top 5 average annual value for a kicker.
This is
Can't wait
ridiculous.
to bring up getting
Dustin Hopkins. Come on,
Are you
man.
serious?
my other league actually got rid of him this year. They added another flex spot instead.
Thank you.
No, kickers are fun. Kickers are fun.
They're pointless.
But I would take Keenan Allen over Cooper. Ridley, no. Higgins, no. But
I'm taking McLaurin. I'm taking Keenan Allen. I'm taking Pickens. I'm all like,
you know what? Yeah,
I'm
not taking Pickens.
No, because I don't even think Pickens will get to 78 catches. The type of player.
You don't think he's going to get to 78 catches?
The type of player he is, Nacc. I mean, you'll know more than me, but he's a 1 or 2 route type of guy.
Amari Cooper's not going to finish.
This summer, that's what he did, is worked on his route running to open up his tree.
Okay.
Honestly, I think if the QB is competent, you're going to see a huge breakout year from Pickens. I think it's destined to be.
I'm sorry, Roger?
It always goes back to the Steelers, eh?
Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It is what it is, Roger. I've accepted it at this point now, and God forbid I talk about the Giants and Daniel Jones, I get my head chewed off. It's fine. It's okay.
I don't think we've gone one pod without Daniel Jones being mentioned.
See, exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You just mentioned it, but why mention it?
Did you guys take your shot? Did you guys take your shots last week for?
Our shots?
No, we didn't. It's going to be done on air next week.
Okay. How many shots were we supposed to
do
take?
It for each.
4
We're
each?
not going to be able to finish the pod
because we made 4 mentions of Daniel Jones.
Can we put that on YouTube though? If we're taking shots, is that allowed?
But yeah, that's a great idea.
Why not?
I don't know. YouTube.
Raj, really quick here. Predictions for the Browns season.
I put 7 and 10. There was a lot of close calls.
7-10. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had them splitting with the Steelers. But the first part of the schedule is not so bad, but it's the end of the year. Like they finish with the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bengals, Miami, Baltimore.
Yeah, you
They
see,
actually
it's
they have a
it's the
pretty tough
whole
schedule.
AFC, bro.
They have a pretty
AFC
tough
North,
schedule.
AFC North. Why do you think they got? Why do you think they did that Hard Knocks thing at the end
Yeah.
of the year, and now
Yeah.
all their games in the second half of the year? Like they're saying, oh, it wasn't planned. Like, come on, man. Like, obviously, it was planned.
Well,
It was
Nacc.
obviously planned to have that at the end of the year.
Well, Nacc, they're getting the NFC East as a schedule this year. They're getting the AFC West. So that's the Chargers, that's the Chiefs, and then obviously, like you said, the NFC North. So it's going to be, and they won a lot of close games last year, like really a lot of close games. So we'll see. They're getting Watson back, but I think 7-10.
They still have a very good defense, right? We can't discount that too, especially in that division. It counts for a lot.
Yeah, they do have a good
They have
defense.
a very good defense.
And
Yeah.
then the reason why they
They have the,
even
they have
They
the
have the
were
best.
second
able,
best.
They
They
have
have
the
the
best
second
defense.
best pass
Best
rusher in the league.
you beat me to
I
it.
beat you to it, as TJ Watt does. Perfect segue into the final and best team in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So at the just at the deadline this year, they actually declined Najee's fifth-year option. So he's essentially now essentially a contract year for him. He's playing in his fourth and final year in Pittsburgh. Personally, I think the writing's on the wall. If they didn't take his option, which was I think worth like 9 million, not even, I think six something. Anyways, they didn't take the option, so I think the writing's on the wall. I think it's his last year in Pittsburgh. I don't see them re-signing him. If they were going to, they probably would have done it because it's gonna just cost more money to re-sign him. So basically, him and Warren like split almost carries last year. Uh, I know that I know Warren had double the amount of catches he had, so his PPR number went up. But they've actually finished with the same amount of PPR points last year, like head and head. So now Najee's going has an ADP of 22, and Warren has an ADP of 25. So I ask you, Fab, um, which one are you taking, or are you taking both, and why?
so actually both are good at that spot. I would probably take Warren just for the PPR upside, but these guys are very serviceable low end RB2s and flex options on a week per week basis, in my opinion, just from based on what I can see, like with the adding of the offensive coordinator for Arthur Smith. And I know like Arthur Smith from Atlanta, like, bleh, but like you saw what he did with the Titans offense in 2019 and 2020.
He's just not a head
Uh,
coach.
he's not well. That's it, right? Like there are certain coaches out there that are not meant for the head coaching job and are just better as coordinators.
Ken
Uh,
Weisenhunt,
yeah, like and
another
Arthur
one.
Smith's a perfect example of that. So I'm just going to read off how his offensive has finished since 2019 on a rushing yards wise. So 2019 they finished third, second. 2021 was 31st, fine, second and eighth. So like at the worst case, you're getting a top 10 rushing offense, which is going to bode very well for Najee Harris and and Jaylen Warren. So I'm buying them at their current ADPs. Like I would probably go with Warren just for the PPR upside, but and probably because he's cheaper and he'll probably give you back the same value overall at the end of the year. But I think they're in a good spot to succeed. Obviously, with the addition of the quarterback, is going to make it for a lot more less stacked boxes, right? Because Russell Wilson can throw. He's not the Russell Wilson of old, but still, it's not Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph or the slew of other horrible quarterbacks that have played for the Steelers ever since Brad
Mitch
Roethlisberger,
Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky. So I think that's going to help in their favor too. And like you said, Nacc, like he's Arthur Smith's a better coordinator, and we've seen it with Tennessee. And Tennessee didn't exactly have oozing players coming out of like yeah they had Derrick Henry, but like Tannehill became relevant again because of Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
And
he
AJ
was
Brown.
kind of
AJ Brown
down.
too.
Yeah,
AJ Brown too. Yeah, very good point. But the offensive weapons are there for Pittsburgh, right? So I think Russell is going to have a good year, better than what he had with Denver, and I think that it's going to translate over to Najee and Warren, definitely living up to their ADPs. I don't think they're going to turn out to like weekly running back ones, but like you're probably going to get some decent weeks of running back two numbers. I think. Yeah.
think they're like the perfect candidates for the zero running back strategy.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
they fall. I think they fall right into
Yeah.
that gap of zero running back
Like
strategy.
like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be concerned to draft them. Obviously, at the spots they're going, I wouldn't be like shit. I got to
No, for
draft
sure.
Jaylen
And
Warren. Like no, I'm
I agree exactly with you. RB2 flex week in and week out
yeah.
without hesitation, especially
Uh,
in the new. It's going to be even more run heavy offense, and I think it's just going to be better with Arthur Smith than Matt Canada. Matt Canada was just all over the place. It just didn't work at all. So, Raj, what do you think?
So last year, with the Broncos, so the Broncos running backs, Samaje Perine, Javonte Williams, and Jaleel McLaughlin caught 128 balls. Russell Wilson had the highest percentage of check down passes at 10%. So exactly what Fab said. Like I think he's gonna catch a lot of balls, and like Russell Wilson, we know what he is now. He's as Fab said, he could still throw the ball, but I think he's more aligned on the check down. He's a one or two read guy, and I think I've always said it, Nacc. I've told you many times in our group chat, in our Bush League group chat, like why isn't Warren playing more? Why isn't Warren playing more? And he finally did, and I think this will be the year that he surpasses Harris.
But that's I think another reason why they declined Harris's
Yeah,
option because they do like Warren
yeah,
more.
and
I think Tomlin likes him more also, and it's just they're like forced to play Najee because they drafted him in the
yes,
first round. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like you know
Yeah,
when
yeah,
teams have that
yeah.
like that draft on you, and you're like, oh well, he's a first round pick, like he has to play. Uh, Honestly, I don't think they hate Najee, but it's just one of those things where it's like Warren's going to be that much cheaper, and he was just way more effective when he had the ball in his
yes,
hands. Like he
more
had more
efficient.
chunk plays, he had more, more first downs,
Yep,
more when you needed a play. Like he was there
yep.
last year, So I think
Yeah.
that played a big part in declining
Fab,
Najee's option.
just before you go, Fab,
Yeah.
I would rather so Harris at 22, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, and even Mostert we're going after. I think I'd still rather have those guys than Harris. Just FYI.
Yeah, I agree. Especially James Conner, like with that rookie that came in this year too, like
Trey Benson,
concerns
yeah,
me. Yeah, DeAndre
Well,
Swift
Connor's going to
is.
be more of like that. He's still going to be more of that bell cow guy, right?
I think so too.
Yeah, but I don't know. It could change like 8 games within the season, right? And Connor's always up for an injury every single season too. Like, no, I agree with Roger on that point. I mean, there at that spot, you kind of want some security, and I feel like Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris really offer that. So yeah, I would definitely be targeting those guys in that spot too if I'm looking for a cheaper RB2 or a perfect guy for my
I
flex.
feel like they have a nice floor, is what it's
Yeah,
going to
you
turn
feel
out to
safe with
be.
them.
It's going to be a nice floor. Like
I
I'm
have
Listen,
a
not
Najee,
question.
questioning.
like
Actually, I have a question about this. If you guys had the chance, would you draft both of them, and would you even start both of them at the same time?
Honestly, like I said, if you're targeting both of them in a zero running back strategy, look, the problem is I always hate to piggyback too much on two players, and then especially at the same position. Who was it? Was it someone last year who had Chase and Higgins at one point?
it was,
That was
Nick had
Wasn't it
Jameer
you?
Gibbs.
Wasn't it you?
that was
Nick,
that was
That
in
was
that was in
Raj.
that was in our fake mock draft.
that was our fake mock draft, but Nick had Jameer Gibbs and
No, who?
Montgomery.
Oh, right. That one
Yeah,
there. Perfect
Nick had
example.
Jameer Gibbs and
He had
Montgomery,
Oh,
and he would start them both
and
every
it
week.
drove him,
I hate
but it
that.
drove him crazy,
It drove
right?
me
Like,
crazy, man. It gave
I
me
hate
acid
that,
every time
man.
I
yeah,
saw
I
but
that
hate
like
that.
lineup being set up.
when you do hit, you're gonna hit. Like, there's no question about it. Like, you do hit. Like, if they both have monster games, but like, if one is targeted more than the other, like that's the problem. And then
Yeah,
the issue becomes who are you starting? And then when you're going to start Harris, well, then Warren's going to come in and have a better game, and vice versa. It's like you're always going to break your head to like. I would draft them both if the value's there, and then maybe trade one
Yeah.
for something else, right? But it's again maybe to start the year would be good, but like as the year progresses, man, like there's always going to be
the thing is,
one guy who's going to outperform, I think, and it's just going to cause us too many headaches.
if you draft them both, you're hedging your bets, and you're always going to get a minimum amount of points per week, but you're going to be capping your maximum. You'll be
Yeah,
capping your ceiling,
exactly.
right? So it's
You'll
and
have a
it
nice floor. You'll just have a nice
you have a
floor,
great
basically.
floor, but you're not going to win any fantasy championships if you draft both these running backs and start them every single week. It's not. It's
If it's your 1 and 2, yeah, you're not. You're done. It's not
no.
going
You
to
have
work
to revisit the way you strategize and draft,
for sure.
and just think about your life.
What are you looking at as far as schedule wise
Listen, I know we had the fans come on over there and they gave very
prediction?
good, very strong points about like how like the Ravens. Cam said it best. Like I think this division does go through Baltimore. I think the Bengals are going to have a bounce back season and do very well. I think the Browns are still going to be a competitive team. I know Roger, you mentioned like a 7-9
7 and
record, 7-10.
7-10.
I
17 games now, Fab.
no, I know. Sorry, like
Wake up.
I don't. I think the Steelers will, like last year they finished 10-7. Like I see that happening this year again. Maybe 9-8. Not to discredit the talent on their team. It's more in regards to how that division got better by virtue of like the Bengals actually.
The
But
last their
let-
last 8 games, is the whole AFC North twice. So Browns twice, Baltimore twice,
Brutal.
yeah. Wow,
Bengals
how does
twice.
that schedule
Then
happen?
Brutal.
wait. So all the NFC North twice, Kansas City and the Eagles. That's their final 8 games of the year.
No, I wouldn't be worried about the Eagles.
I'm just saying, like you sprinkle that in, you have. I think in a 10 game in 11 days they play the Eagles or they play Baltimore Eagles Chiefs or something like that in
Yeah.
11 days stretch down the road. So like me too, I'm looking at the predictions. Like I'm seeing it as okay. They have a better quarterback. They have a better offense. They have a better chance. Like they finished 9-8 last year, and I'm like they could easily finish 10-7. I guess one more win, but it's like you see the schedule and you're like, man, how are you gonna win? Like out of those 8 games, how many are you gonna win? Like they'll probably win one in each of the in the division, one in each. It's rare they get swept by a
Yeah.
team. But then you have Kansas City, then you have the Eagles on the road. It's like it just it stockpiles, and it's like I'm
So
still thinking 9-8, 10-7. Like I think
could this be the year that Mike Tomlin finally has a losing record?
that's what a lot of people are saying. But I'll see it when I believe. But I don't care about that stat. That
Yeah, it
stat I feel like is moot to me.
doesn't matter.
I hate that stat because the stat that should matter is no playoff wins since
Exactly.
2016.
They need to start winning playoff games. Nacc, I have a question for you. Are we sure that the Browns have the worst QB room in the division?
Are we sure?
Yeah. Are we sure it's the Browns who have the worst QB room in the division and not the Steelers?
Listen, I'm gonna wait and see what Deshaun Watson does, right? Like, and what Russell Wilson looks like. I can't. It's hard. It's a hard question to answer right now. If I had to argue it and say it, I would say yeah, they probably have a worse off
The Browns
QB
or the
QB
Steelers?
room.
The
The
Browns?
Browns.
But because like if I look at the
Deshaun
like
Watson has
if
not looked good, guys. Like
I no,
let's be honest.
I agree, but neither has
He has
Wilson.
not looked good.
And
Yeah, exactly.
but if you tell me who, if you tell me if both Watson and Wilson have as good a seasons as they can have, to
Well,
me
no,
that
like
means
but
Watson. To me
Watson
that
has
means
a
Watson.
much higher ceiling,
He's a
obviously
high, exactly.
Yeah.
He has
being
a higher
younger and
ceiling.
being whatever. But
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
hasn't he has not he was a top 5 QB in the
yeah,
NFL, and he was on his way to stardom,
yeah.
Yep.
superstardom. Like he was on
100%.
his way there,
Yep.
and then guilty pleasures got in the way, and he hasn't been the same guy since. He missed out on what, a full year of football, then came back. He just hasn't been the same QB, and it hasn't looked good. It just something's not clicking. I don't know if
And
No, I
it's not
agree
working.
100%. I agree
And I
100%.
think
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, everyone is kind of painting him in like this. Oh, he's done. Like, dude, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks last year
it was
in a really
Fugazi. It was
shitty, in a
Fugazi though,
really,
man.
really, really bad
It was
offense.
Fugazi, Knack. You know it. Like, it
I
was
don't know how fugazi it is. Like,
and so
I just look at it this way. Look at what the QB was last year. Again, I'm
no,
not
you're
saying
right.
Russell
Yeah.
Wilson is Russell Wilson of 10 years ago, but look at our QB room last year, and they won 9 games with garbage like Kenny Pickett, who couldn't hit a barn. Like, just think about those 10-yard out routes that Kenny Pickett was missing. That
I'm saying
why is everyone
unlimited. I'm
laughing?
just saying unlimited without actually
Oh,
saying.
unlimited. But I'm
Unlimited.
just saying, like
I didn't want to stop your train of thought.
Unlimited.
those easy throws that a vet is going to come in here and make.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yes.
one of those things. Like even Mason Rudolph, as a vet in the league,
Yeah.
came in and made those easy throws where
You know,
Pickett couldn't do.
I think one thing's for sure though, the Steelers quarterback room is going to be all the more dangerous.
So do you think we're seeing Fields?
A lot more dangerous. That's
Do you think we're seeing Fields if like barring an injury?
He's got to. I think Wilson's got to struggle like mightily. Like
Yeah.
if they start 1-5, like you're seeing Fields.
Yeah.
It, I mean, if I don't. Tomlin really likes Wilson like a lot. He's like gushed about him, and I think like he's gonna get his fair shot. He's not gonna have a short leash like Pickett did, and whatever when they had to, or even Mitch Trubisky when he came in, he had a really short leash. Like 4 games in, at halftime, they brought in Pickett in his rookie year. Russell's been there, done that. Like he's a vet. Like he's one of those guys where
Yeah.
they're gonna give him a shot, and like man, he has to get hurt, or he really has to like 1-5. I'm saying if they go 1-5, that's the only way I see him getting like yanked.
Nacc, it's a match made in heaven. Tomlin and Wilson. The amount of platitudes, the amount of crappy quotes, the amount of like just brutal.
Tomlisms.
Oh, like they're just a match made in heaven. Of course he loves him. Like he's basically Wilson. Like
Look, I'm excited because the quarterback room has been very bleak the last few years, especially since Ben left, and even Ben's last year, which wasn't pretty either. Right? He stayed on a year too long. So I don't know. Look, I'm excited to see them. You know, like we said at the beginning, training camps are upon us, and I'm just happy.
There's definitely room for excitement. I'd be excited too if I was a Steelers fan, where like you go from Kenny Pickett to Russell Wilson right off the bat. Like, why not? Is there any legitimacy behind Justin Fields fielding punts?
No, that was just all a joke. And then did you see it? It was on like the
It
commercial
was
for
on.
Madden.
Yeah, I saw it on. It
Madden's
was
like
like
commercial
the
was him like
opening scene. Like,
yeah, and like he fields it and then he gives it to Patterson on like on a reverse on the kickoff. Like yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what it looks like though. If they're gonna put like players like they were saying like you put Tyreek back there, you know, like as a
well, with the new
threat like,
rules, right? I mean, there's less of a chance of any punt
for injury.
returners have. Yeah, exactly. So like,
Yeah,
it kind of makes sense.
I want to see. I'm curious to see how it evolves throughout the year because I'm one of the guys who like the rule
Yeah, me
change.
too.
100%. It's
Yeah.
going to be so much more exciting.
Yep.
From a casual fan perspective, so much more exciting. So yeah, so I think like 9-8 ish.
Yeah, I have 9-8, 10-7. Like
Yeah.
the schedule is way too brutal, I think. Well, that about wraps it up for our AFC North breakdown. I want to thank once again Cam and Ryan for joining us. That was great. You guys really came prepared. Really well done. So I thank you for that. Guys, please follow us everywhere on any social media you can. There's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's TikTok. We're on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. So check us out. Spotify, Apple, all the good things. So I will see you next week with another division. That's it for today. Goodbye.
Peace.
Peace out,
Bye,
guys.